Welcome back to Capital Connections. We're going to hear Governor Chris Christie's remarks on education.
First off, I think that the most important person in your education beside you is your parents, right? And so we need to have your parents to have more ability to influence and choose how you want to be educated, what they think is best for you. I remember when we decided to send our oldest son to Catholic school in the 7th grade, and he wasn't enthusiastic about going. And he thought maybe he wouldn't get admitted. And then the letter came and he had been admitted. And he went up to his room and he cried. This is, by the way, the senior at Princeton now, so I'm sure he loves me telling this story. But he went up to his room and cried. And he came back downstairs angry. And he said, "It's my life. Don't I have a choice of where I go to school?" And I said, "No, you don't. Not now. You get to make choices when you get older. Now, we get to choose." I think parents need to be more involved in their child's education and choosing what the best education is for them. And for us, giving them the opportunity, the freedom, regardless of their economic circumstances, to be able to make that choice. Whether it's public school, where I went to school my entire life. You'll tell who made decisions in our house, who makes decisions in our house. I went to public school from kindergarten to 12th grade. My wife went to Catholic school from kindergarten to 12th grade. Our 4 children go to Catholic school. So, you know, she makes the calls on this stuff, but one of us should. I think your parents need to have more freedom to make those choices. Second, I think we need to stop teaching like we're still in the 19th century. Most classrooms today look exactly like they looked in the 19th century. Rows of desks, facing front, one person standing in front, a whiteboard or a blackboard, some chalk or markers, and away we go. We got to do much better than that. The technology we have today, do you have a big backpack you carry to school every day? With lots of books in it? Really heavy? Yeah? I think you should have an iPad. And I think all your books should be on an iPad so that you can download the most current version of that book. Not an old book that maybe has been hanging around for 3 or 4 years, the most current version of the book. And you should carry that iPad around every day, and that should be the only thing that you have to carry along with a notebook. That's it. That's all you need to do. We need to use the technology that's available to us now to be able to make your education more current to you. Not something old and stodgy, but current. And to use the tools that you've become so used to using. I don't have my cell phone with me, but if I did, I'm sure you could work it a heck of a lot better than I can. And so can my kids. They've evolved into a new way of learning, and we're not catching up with them. Third, we got to demand quality in the classroom. Every kid in a classroom should have a good teacher. And good teachers in this country don't ever worry about being evaluated. And they, quite frankly, don't care much about tenure. Because they know that if you have a good teacher in the front of your classroom, you carry that teacher around on your shoulders, man. They are worth their weight in gold to you. The teachers' unions in this country spend more time, money, and energy protecting the worst of them than they do protecting the best. It's absolutely true. And in my opinion, they have become a destructive force on education in this country. How about this in New Jersey? I had a guy recently in one of our public schools, who was late to school, the teacher, over the course of 2 years, over 100 times. Over 100 times. The school district moved to fire him after many warnings. They fired him, the union came in and protected him, and the arbitrator gave him his job back and said, while it's unacceptable he came late, we don't think it's a fireable offense. Well, what is it? We're gonna put him in the corner? We're gonna send him to the board and write, "I won't be late again" 100 times? Like, what do we, no, he's an adult. He should show up for work on time. He should be fired. Yet the unions and the craziness of the unions in this country have allowed a guy like that to stay in a classroom. In the city of Newark, I've got teachers who sit in a conference room every day and read the newspaper. Because we can't fire them, but we can't let them be in the classroom either because they're so lousy. Insanity that's driven by the system. So what you deserve is to have a teacher who's interested in being there, who's working hard, who's qualified to teach you, and who wants you to do well. And we can do that, and we can even pay them more. But we got to get rid of the lousy ones and get rid of tenure. Teacher tenure should not be part of the K-12 system. It just shouldn't be. No one's getting fired for their views of algebra. Okay? And this is just a system that now says if you keep a job for 3 years, you keep it for life. I'm sure any one of you would like that deal in here. I have a good first 3 years, I got it for the rest of my life. Craziness, it never happened. Last thing I'd tell you is this. What you learn in school every day should be decided by your local school board, not by some folks in Washington, D.C. doing something like Common Core. Shouldn't be done. Because if you start bringing that stuff home and you're doing your homework with your mom or your dad, and they start seeing stuff that you're being taught that they're saying, this doesn't make sense. This is contrary to our values. This gives us some concern. They should be able to get up, go to the next school board meeting, and air their views. But if that thing's being decided in Washington, D.C., that becomes a much bigger problem for them. So education that's kept closest to you and to your parents will be the education that'll be best and most responsive to you. And the last thing is, don't forget about this. It's your responsibility too.
When we return, we're going to hear Governor Chris Christie focusing on healthcare issues.